Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Making It in Austria. I'm your host, Adela, and it's a great morning. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to welcome another great woman to our YouTube channel, Estefanía Piñón. Welcome.
Hi. No, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. I had another introduction, but as we were just saying, my laptop died. So really happy to have you here with us because I'm very, very curious about your story, about your way to Austria and all these wonderful initiatives and projects that you're working to support more women that are finding their way to Austria. So welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what is all that you're doing now.
Yes, well, so as you said, I'm Estefanía Piñón. I am from Mexico City specifically, so 20 million people city. I came to Austria 2.5 years ago exactly. I don't live in Mexico since almost 6 years ago, so I'm already a little bit far away from that. And right now I have 2 jobs. One of them is at Global People. I'm an account manager and also an employment expert and consultant. And I also co-founded the Network of International Women in Austria, NIWA, where we support migrant women in Austria for things such as legal, migration, learning a language, making friends. We have different workshops, we have conferences and events. So to help other women and support each other, like create a network for when you move to Austria, because as we know, it's kind of challenging sometimes.
So tell me a little bit more about it. So first of all, tell me how you have chosen Austria to be your country, so or let's say Vienna as a almost 2 million city. So how did that happen? So what attracted you here about Austria? And then we can talk a little bit more about NIWA. So probably that grew from one another.
Well, Austria chose me. So I was living in Mexico and I decided I wanted to see something else. I decided I wanted to be in a different place. So I moved first to Argentina. Then I was doing backpacking in Europe. Like I was volunteering, I was picking olives in farms. I was helping people build houses and do weird stuff. And I met what now is my ex-partner here in Vienna. So we met here, he's Austrian, we fell in love, we decided we wanted to live together. So I didn't come to Vienna the first time because I wanted to get my master's degree. And for me, it was very important to get it and to get it in a field that I wanted and everything. And there was no master's degree in Vienna that fulfilled my requirements. They were in German. I didn't speak any German back then. So I decided and I found a very good program in Spain. So I went to live to Spain for 1.5 years. I did my master's degree in there. Then I moved to Germany for my Erasmus. It made sense so I could start learning German. And after my Erasmus semester, I moved here. So we analyzed the possibilities of where we were going to live. It was either Mexico or Austria. As I said, I didn't want to live in Mexico since long ago. And the best option was Austria and Vienna. I loved Vienna. I never imagined that I was going to end up here. The first time I came, I went to the Weltmuseum where they have like a room for Mexico. And there were like the testimony of a lot of Mexicans living here. And I remember so well that I thought, how do you end up in Austria? Like how as a Mexican you end up in Austria? And I ended up here. So yeah, it was so funny. And so we wanted to live together, my ex-partner and we loved each other. So we did a partnership. We celebrated at a Heuriger, we invited some of the family, This was in February 2020. And then the pandemic came. I moved here and then the pandemic came. So yeah, it was extremely challenging, as we all know. I couldn't find any friends. Then we went from living in a long distance relationship to 24 hours together the whole time. So it was very, very challenging for us. And at the end, we separated. We are not together anymore, but I love being here. I love Vienna. I already made friends. I have a dog, I have a job. And I think my personality, it's very like it suits with the culture in here. Like I even in Mexico, I don't know if you know this stereotype, which is true, but Latin Americans are never on time, and I was always on time, like always, all my life. I'm a very structured person. I like order. I like, you know, I like seeing when the train is coming. I like quiet streets, which obviously in Mexico City it's not happening. I don't like having a car, so I'm a public transportation enthusiast. So this is just like, I studied art history as well. This is a city full of art, full of history. So I just go outside the street and I see the buildings and I see everything, and it makes me happy. Like even after 2.5 years, I just see the city and it makes me happy. So I decided to stay here, and now I applied for a work visa because I have a job and everything. I'm still waiting for it. So yeah, let's see what happens. But this is how I came here. Like normally I say, yeah, I'm here working because I don't like explaining the whole situation. And yeah, I broke up with my ex-boyfriend. This is, you know, I'm also like being transparent how I came here, because it was not because I got a work visa. It was because I did the partnership with my ex-partner. And then I actually got things moving. Yeah.
So many things that you said, and of course we love your dog. So we, my daughter and I, so we and I think most of all the kids that we have met when we walked through our garden last time, so they are obsessed with the dog. So please bring her anytime. And thanks for the tip about the Welt Museum. So we haven't been there yet. So I was thinking like what to do tomorrow afternoon with our daughter. So it might be a place to go together as a family. And as you said, you know, in Vienna, there's so many things that you can do. And what we also love, things that you said about Vienna, and for us as well, one of the things about Vienna was it's close to our home. You know, my husband and I, we are both from Bosnia. So our family is around 6 hours drive from here. And we have friends in Sarajevo where we have studied. And, you know, the idea when we were thinking about moving from Bosnia was like, okay, I don't want to go that far. You know, I don't want to go to US, or I don't want to go somewhere too far. It was like this distance was very important for us back then. We felt like we are there, and if our family needs us, so we can be there within a couple of hours. And then we basically later on fell in love with Austria, and then day by day we learn new things, you know, now with a new chapter of our life as parents. So there's a completely new phase of Vienna that we are basically discovering. Thank you for sharing with us. And you mentioned the MA35, so the office, so everybody knows it. So I think everybody who's listening this and wants to move to Austria will eventually have to meet the MA35. So is it the immigration office, right? Magistrat. And as you said, you know, one of the things that we also learn when we come from abroad to Austria is the bureaucracy, the administration, the paperwork, even though many things can be done digitally nowadays. So it's a lot about paperwork, and it's also about, you know, building up the patience. Because
Yes.
This is the things that we are, most of the people that I met, we are very impatient. You know, we came here because we have something to fulfill. It's not like, okay, they said to us, we have to come here. Someone told us we have to come here. And then we have like, okay, months, and we just relax and drink tea, as they would say in Austria. But we want to work, we want to create, we want to do, so very entrepreneurial spirit. And then you come there and there's like, okay, you give your papers, and then you have to wait. You know, this like, okay, when it's done, we'll get back, and so on. So that can be really, for us at least, was very frustrating, even though it was very fast. But the being without the feedback, I think not being able to contact anyone and just get that, I think the things are improving now, at least I hope, with the service desk and so on. So we don't want to scare off people who are listening to this and say, okay, it's never going to happen, I'm not going to get there. You will get there, but it's also kind of, you know, this, I wouldn't say the barrier, but it's like kind of, okay, the first time we feel like, okay, you know, this is the first step towards the society. So
yeah, this is so just for the audience, Adela and I were part of an event. She was online and I was live. We both gave a keynote speech, and this is how we met each other. But in my speech, I mentioned that when I applied the first time for my permit, my family reunification permit, it was the pandemic. It was literally the beginning of the pandemic. And I was waiting on my visa from Spain, but I was a student. I had 2 visas at the same time, Germany and Spain, to student visas at the same time. And they both were about to expire. And I was really, really desperate. And I called the MA and they told me like, well, you will need to go in a repatriation flight back home. And I was like, first, I don't want to do it in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. But second, this is now my home. You know, this is where my partner is. This is where my belongings are. This is where I want to, as you say, I want to just start. I want to find a job. You feel like you're in pause and you cannot do anything because what if they reject it? So it's and I agree completely that now things are improving. And I do think that it's also because we are asking them to do it. So yeah, I hope they improve more. And yeah, we have a lot of ideas if the Emma wants to contact.
I'm sure we have. And I know I've been very vocal last year about, you know, the visa, because for our, when you are a foreigner and get to have a child, so then you have to do the same for your child in order to get, so she has to have the passport, and it was also middle of the pandemic, she had to have the Bosnian passport, then she had to have the Austrian visa in order for us to get the money, so to get the so I could get my money, so finance when I'm on a maternity leave, and she can get the one from the state that she is entitled to as she was born here, and so on. So it was like a very, very, very long process. And as you said, it was like during the pandemic, so when you couldn't really go and see the people and just like knock the door and send, or take the, you know, the note and then wait there. So that's, I hope that you know, we learned a little bit from the pandemic. But moving forward, so how did that end up with, so you came here, you settled, you have a job, so you love what you do, and then you decide to create the NIWA. So what was the drive behind it?
Yeah, so when I started looking for a job. So I was working for a university in Spain back then, and I still had a contract until my visa expired. So I was like, okay, now my life is here. I need to start looking for a job in here. And it took me a long time. I was applying everywhere, literally everywhere. But my German was, I did study German every day, like every second. I have this, like, I'm very persistent. So when I want something, I try to get it. So I was studying German every day for hours and hours and hours. But still, you know, even if you try, you cannot just be C2 in 2 months. So my German, I don't know, was like B1 or B2, and I started looking for a job, and I didn't even get rejection, nothing. I was just completely ignored. And then I actually got a job. It was because I'm a Spanish speaker. As you know, Spanish is my mother language. So they needed someone that spoke Spanish. It wasn't something completely unrelated to whatever I have ever done, selling silicon protection for high voltage energy networks. Like, they had to explain to me how energy works. It blew my mind. And so I was doing it, you know, I was like, I was happy. This is what I have to do right now. I will do it. I will overcome, I will adapt. And this was for me like the engine that started everything. So I had a job, but it was not my dream job. I loved my coworkers. I actually met the co-founder of NIWA, Rebecca, there. We worked together there. And also, I've always tried to show that I could do more. So they gave me like a better position. I started like working just 3 hours, answering the phone in Spanish. And I was completely okay with that. But then they were like, okay, this girl kind of thinks, so let's make her account manager. So they made me like account manager full time, and we started bringing ideas, and it was a very nice environment to grow, thankfully, and I'm very thankful for that. And like the people from this job know this, but I was not fulfilled. So I was like, I sat and I analyzed what I wanted to do, because as I said, I studied art history. And I was like, okay, do I want to work on that? So I started like interviewing people that worked in museums and so on. I was like, hey, can you have a conversation with me? Like your friend, like my friends knew a friend that was working in a museum. So I was like, hey, do you think like I can have like a conversation with this person? And I was like, okay, let me know. Can you please let me know how this works? If I need German, how do I enter a museum? And they were like, yeah, you need to do this. You need to do networking, as we always say. And I thought like, is this what I want? Is this actually what I want? Because, you know, you choose your career when you are 17, 18 years old, and then you change. And I was like, I don't want to work in the art world anymore. So what do I want? What are my passions? And I said, well, activism, women's rights and migrants' rights are my passion. I'm always talking about this, you know, like I'm always bringing gender and bringing race and politics into the conversation the whole time. And I read about it a lot and I watch videos and I love just talking and discussing these topics. And I myself had this situation when you know, you are treated badly, you cannot sleep, you are worried all the time about your migration status. So I was like, what should I do? So I started thinking. Then I had like a meeting at my house with a lot of Mexican women because we wanted to, you know, be friends and try to know new people. Mm-hmm. Because the first year I lived here, I didn't have any friends. I was very, and felt very lonely. So once the pandemic was over and we were able to meet more, I was like, okay, let's put into work. And I was just like insisting to people, are we meeting? Are we doing this? Are we like, maybe I was very annoying for some people, but it worked for some others. So we met at my flat, and this woman said like, I live here. I also feel very lonely. I've been here for 5 years or whatever. She had a child and she wanted to divorce her Austrian husband. But she was like, I'm so scared. I'm scared. I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to live with him anymore. But I'm scared because I have a child. I cannot just take him back. I don't know anyone. I speak the language, but maybe not enough to go to court. I don't have the money to hire a lawyer because I am stay-at-home mom, so I don't get like a full-time salary because being a mom, it's a job that should be paid. But she didn't get it. So she was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And that was the first time we met her and we told her like, look, maybe we don't know each other right now as much as we should or whatever. Maybe we don't agree in everything, but if you need help, we are here. Like, we are here for you because, you know, we feel your situation. Mm-hmm. And also, there are so many cases when the woman is not from Europe and the man is from Europe, and if they separate, they have children, and even if the man has mishandled or whatever the children, they get to go back to the father gets custody because European embassies are way more powerful than, let's say, Mexican embassies. And yeah, it's bad. So she had like legitimate fear, and it was like justified, of course. So I was talking about this with my ex-partner, and I was like, yeah, I need to do something. Like I don't like just thinking or just staying and not doing anything. I was like, there's something that we need to do. And I don't think, one of my main traits, I would say, is that I think everything has a solution. Like if there is a problem, you cannot tell me that there is not a solution. I'm like, no, there's need to be a solution. So I try to be more practical than theoretical. And I was like, there's something that I should do. This is not possible. How can we live like this? And he was like, you know, in Austria, we have Vereine, associations. Like it's a thing. Like a lot of people are in associations. Like he has a football club, which is a Verein. And he was like, we are an association. There are like the Alpenverein, you know, all of these associations are like a thing. And he was like, why don't you make one of women and you gather together, you know, he was like, the first idea was like just gathering and talking and knowing that we are there for each other. So I was like, you know, that's a very good idea. So I started doing my research. I came up with a name. I made the logo. I did like an idea of what I wanted to do, like workshops, events, making friends, how, you know, like making a mark, like a frame for it. And then I was like, okay, I cannot do this alone. There is no way. And then I had already met Rebecca for like 3 months, and we got along super well. We had the same goals and ambitions and ideas. So I told her like, hey, do you want to do this with me? And she was like, okay, yes, let's do it. And we started meeting each Saturday. We called that the NIWA sessions because we started meeting every Saturday in different cafes, and we just sat down with our computers and worked. And came with a mission, vision, values. We wrote the statuten. We apply for all the things that we had to do. We built the website. Like you see, like now a friend of us is helping us do a better website, but the one that we have, I made. So it took me like months of just being sat down and observing, because it's not my talent to do websites, but you know, everything was very do it yourself. And then we were like, okay, we don't feel ready, it doesn't matter, we need to launch it, you know, because you cannot wait until you're ready, otherwise you will never do it. And we launched it, and we tried, like we went to all of the Facebook groups, we went to all of the platforms we could, and we announced it, and we started getting a lot of interest. So we also, of course, did like a market research. Again, as we don't believe in competition, this is not something that it's part of our values. We believe in collaboration. So although there are many other associations for women and for migrant women, we really thought we were offering something new and something that we still needed to be covered. And it's proved to be right, because a lot of people started coming to us. Then people wanted to volunteer. Now we have 7 volunteers right now. Members, our friends were also interested, and yeah, it's a work in progress, of course, still. So this was 1 year ago exactly. It's still a work in progress, but yeah, we are learning, you know, learning as we do, like how to do things, what people like more. And yesterday I attended the HR Insight Summit, and I was listening to the conferences, and I thought like we are in the right path, like we are doing things correctly. And yeah, and we are growing, and every time, sometimes we don't have the time, sadly, because it's not our full-time job to invest as much as we would want. But when we do, it's you can see how it grows and grows and grows. So I'm very happy about that. Yeah.
I can hear that, and I'm sure people who are listening will hear the same. And I will definitely link your website and your social channels below this YouTube video, so people can, you know, follow you, join your mission as well. And as you said yourself, so I was thinking, so when the purpose calls, you know, you find the ways, you know, because you said, you know, building a website, it's not my thing, but then you found a way how to do that. And there are many other women that I know and I met as well, who, you know, come from one world, but they, you know, because they wanted to so badly to do this project, they built up their own websites at the beginning, and they did a lot of, you know, marketing, a lot of promotion, a lot of other things that they have never done in their work, because, you know, in the corporate world, there was someone in the company who was taking care of that. So, you know, I think we prove ourselves every single day that we can do more things than we think that we can.
Yeah.
And many of women of those that have done that have been now doing on their own. So they've been in a corporate world for many years. So they have collected over 15, 20 years of experience. And then now they said, okay, I want to do something on my own, because I don't want to be, you know, put in a, like you're in a product department, or with all due respect, you know, you are in a sales, so then you do the sales, you do product, you do this. So because, you know, at some point in our life, we want to try other things. So really great things that you have done. And I'm really looking forward to see some of the people from our community. So from the Making It in Austria, as you said, it's a collaboration. So there's so many things out there that needs to be solved. And that's the world that we live in, so that there's no need for a competition, you know, because what for? There's like, so we all have the same cause. It's just a different approach we target. So some people are attracted to Making It in Austria, others are attracted to NIWA, the third are to women mentors, so where we basically got to know each other. So at the end of the day, we talk the same language. So it's not, it's just the way, you know, maybe some people like the way I talk, or maybe because I'm from Bosnia, you know, they connect with me, or the Bosnian women connect more, or like from people from Balkan and in your end, or vice versa. So it's just the same basically. speak the same language at the end of the day.
I think in our case, we are attracting a lot of young people.
Yeah.
And it was not on purpose. It just happened. But I think, as you say, like what we did, it was we reflected our personality in our brand, so to say. We chose certain colors that we love. We chose the typography. We chose everything to do, and this attracted very young women. And we also use TikTok a lot. We have like a lot of track on TikTok. And so this attracts, you know, like younger people, and also they connect with us because we show our personality in there, so they feel like the same, so they come. So yeah, exactly, this is how you choose. And we also offer different things, and we are different people doing new workshops, and you can learn from any of them. You can learn from women too. You can learn from making in Austria, from Austria for beginners, for women of Vienna. Like you can learn from everyone. So yeah, I love that.
Thank you. So you mentioned a little bit about networking. So we are coming closer to our end, but I would like to talk a little bit. So how you network. So how was, you mentioned it, how important it is, and we all know that, but how do you specifically, you know, because you're fresh here, 2.5 years. So how do you do that? So how do you find people, or people find you nowadays? So where do you put focus? How do you stay in touch with your community and so on? So I would like to hear that.
Yeah, I think like putting yourself out, it's very important. Every time I talk about it, I get like backlash from the introverts because I'm a very extroverted person, and they're like, okay, yeah, but that's easy for you because you don't mind it, you know, you don't mind going out and talking to people and meeting new people, even though I like meeting new people. Like it makes me feel alive. But yeah, like this is what works for me, you know. I see if there is any networking event. There is Meetup, there is Internations, there is Facebook groups, there are LinkedIn groups, there are so many associations. I'm part of the expat club of the Vienna Business Agency. I went to a grape harvesting event the other day, and I met a lot of people with whom we are already working on projects together, you know. So I actually get up and move and go to the places where they are telling me, hey, this is a networking space. Do it, you know, because if you go to, for me, it's important to go specifically also to networking events, because then people there are open to talk about it. Maybe they are introverts as well, but they are there for a purpose. And I'm not saying that you can only network here, but I think like if you are not very familiar, looking for a networking event and going there, it's a very good start, because there are open people already ready for your questions. You know that that you are going to ask about their jobs, you know, or they know that you are going to ask about how to enter a certain company, or for a recommendation, you know, like anything. And my other kind of motto is just ask. Like there are so many things like we believe like, no, I'd rather not do it, especially as women. We are like, yeah, no, what if they say no? Well, if they say no, you're going to be in the same situation you are right now. So, and maybe they say yes. So just add that person on LinkedIn, tell them, hey, I really admire your work, or I really think we have similar values and we should connect. Just talk to this person, send the email, you know, just do it. But it's I know sometimes, like even for me as an extrovert, sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this, no, I don't want to go there, you know, I'd rather stay at home. But sadly, how work it is, or sadly or not sadly, or I don't know, like how the world works right now, it's you need to go and you need to do the things. So even if it's not your cup of tea, you do it and you will start. I always say, like, it's like it's an engine, and one of them starts, the others follow. And also another phrase that I really like, it's inspiration exists, but it needs to find you working. So once you start working, things will start coming as well. Yeah.
I love that. So it's definitely networking. Sometimes people say they don't like the word networking, and I say I like it because there's work in it. Because of that, like networking, it's like I like, you know, building relationships, and so okay, great, but the networking has the work in it. And as you said, you have to show up. You have to go out. It's not possible to do that, in your comfort zone. So going out and meeting people and going out to different, as you said, the diverse events. What I did, I was like never settling to one direction. So I just go to this and that's it. So, and to this association, and they organize these events. I went to ones related to my work. For instance, as you said, the HR summit was your thing. Everything related to IT and tech and IoT was related to my world. So I went to that side, but I as well went to all other different events that were related, I don't know, to business, related to innovation, related to women as well. So I was like, when I was looking for my very first female mentor, I went specifically to this kind of association because I had only male mentors to my career, which was great. But I was like feeling at some point, okay, I need that to, bring to life that feminine side of myself. So I went there. So, and then from one thing links to another, because you meet a person, and this person, if you connect, they know tens of other people or other association that you have to go. So it goes, as you said, one thing leads to another. So, and it all happens in movement. So it doesn't happen really much in sitting down. And for the introverts, I've done many workshops for over the last 2 years. And there was like always, when I did the networking workshops, it was always about the introverts. Like, it's easy for you because you're extrovert, you connect with people. But at the end of the day, the introverts, and we all have, our things that, strengths.
Exactly.
And one thing for me about networking, it's not about numbers. So I don't go to the networking events like, I need 20 business cards, and then what do I do with those? Like, it's not chasing numbers. For me at this point, it's not chasing numbers, it's not chasing titles, because these things change. I have had directors in my life, so who were my mentors as well, but they're not directors anymore. They just, after 2 years, they took something completely different because that's their life. They've chosen that. So I don't chase these things. So if you're introvert, and go to an event of 10, 20, 50 people, and connect with 3 people, and then just don't feel bad when you come home and say, I talked only to 1 person. And then don't do it every night because it exhausts you. Do every once a week or every 2 weeks, kind of have this talk with yourself and say, okay, this is not working for me. What works for Estefanía is not working for me. So I do it differently. I don't give up. I do it differently. I say, okay, once a month, and then I go, and then I don't do it in 1 year. I do it in 2 years. There has to be a kind of a goal in this, it's like, and a kind of fun as well. You kind of challenge yourself along the way. It's like, okay, I'll do it, and have a buddy in crime. It's also good, partner in crime. Because you bring people with yourself, and then you try to make the introductions for them. It's like, oh, this is the person you need to talk to. Just like break the ice and just do something nice. And I think it's worth it. It's for you. It's just 1 or 2 sentences. For some people, it's a whole world. Really cool, Estefanía. So before we wrap up, I really want to, of course, thank you for this lovely conversations. It was really insightful, and I could listen to you for many, many more hours. But I wanted to ask you, as I ask all of my guests, so what is that you're reading at the moment? Is there some book books that you would like to recommend so that we, keep on this conversation?
Yeah, so I brought it. This one I'm reading. I have 2 at the same time, all the time. So this is one of them. It's called Be Not Afraid of Love by Mimi Xu. And so lessons on fear, intimacy, and connection. I'm very into inner work and trying to be a better version of myself all the time. So I read a lot about this kind of books, and I really like this one because, nowadays we are very used to gratification and to social media and connecting through dating apps, and it's like a market again, like everything now, it's a market. So it talks more a lot about connections, and I like it because it also works for networking, so to say. I was thinking while you were talking, like being genuinely interested in people's lives is also part of networking for me, or could be part of networking. Like, you never know when someone will need your help or can help you. So even for me, it's very important being kind to everyone. A lot of people, they come to Austria, and they also, one of the challenges is that people are not as warm as in their countries. And this applies to me, for example, because in Mexico, everyone is super open and also very super diplomatic. Like it has its goods and bads as in everything. For example, again, as me being more Austrian than Mexican in some aspects, I hate going into a place and having to say hi to everyone with a kiss, to like 50 people. I'm like, no, I'm just gonna say hi and that's it. So and here no one judged me for that. While in Mexico, I'm super rude.
2 meters distance is like just
I'm like, hi everyone, I'm here. You know I'm here. I don't need to give you a kiss to everyone. So but being kind, it's so important. So so they come, other people come, they're like, yeah, this person was so rude to me. Like, then stop the circle, you know, like don't be rude back, like be kind. And it costs nothing to be kind. So I really like that. And I really like establishing connections with people and being actually interested in what they are doing right now, not just going there and asking them, yeah, so what they're doing because you want something out of them. Actually trying to know and learn about their lives is going to bring you so way more knowledge and satisfaction than just being interested in what they have to offer for you. So this is one of the things from this book that I really like. And I'm also listening, because that I just listened to Atomic Habits, which is a very famous book. And I really like it as well, because again, instant gratification. We are very, and this is something that I think it helps a lot when you are coming to a new country, especially to Austria, as you said, because you need to be very patient. There is no digital work here. You need to send letters all the time. So sending a letter via post takes way longer than sending it via email, you know? So you have to be very patient and not focus on instant gratification and coming here and saying, and this is something I also said the other day in the event for Women and the OEF, is like, if you didn't make it already after 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, don't feel bad, because making it's a process that it has ups and downs. It's never an up, like satisfaction, like happiness, like any of these things. It's not just a linear way up. It's ups and downs. So sometimes you're going to be here, sometimes you're going to be here. But yeah, it goes up, but with ups and downs. So in this book, they also talk about how we need to focus on long-term satisfaction instead of just instant gratification. And I really like that, because it applies also to jobs here, to coming here and getting your citizenship, your visa. So it has helped me to feel a little bit calmer with what I do right now, you know, because you want everything all at once. And we as humans it was fine several years, thousands of years ago, because it was a thing for like surviving, but now it's not anymore. So you don't need it. We also need to take breaks, and your brain doesn't work if it doesn't rest. So that has helped me a lot, because normally I don't rest much. So I'm trying to be also kinder with myself and more patient with myself. Yeah.
Great. So we could have the Atomic Habits for everyone who's coming to Austria. Definitely
Yes.
should read this and think short and long term. It's a great book. It has been recommended by a few people that I have interviewed here, and I had the opportunity to read it as well last year and pick up on a few of them. So definitely worth reading. Thank you so much, Estefanía. So I will leave it here, because otherwise we will go and talk more and more and more. So thank you so much. I will link your contact details, or your LinkedIn profile, and all the other social media tags that you have sent me. So when people can reach out to you and join one of your next events, there will be also a website. Thank you so much for joining. It was such a great conversation. It feels good, you know, when you find people like yourself that they take of other people as well, because that's, you know, it's like this cumulative effort. So one person cannot do much, but collectively we can do a lot. So it's really good. Makes me feel good, you know, the hormones are working now, to know that you are as well, you know, carrying this message and working together with great people, and that are volunteering their time to make sure that we all have a fair share and a fair start in Austria.
Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm really, really happy that we met.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for watching this episode. I really look forward to bring you more when the time allows. So finger crossed. Thank you so much. Enjoy the day, and bye from Vienna.